Welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transits, real talk in real time. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. And we'd love for you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, or maybe lack thereof, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, and what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us.
So, whether you're joining us live, listening later, we're glad you're here.
Let's get into it again.
It's
Okay,
perfect. I'm ready with my graphics now. This was perfect
right?
timing.
Okay, so we are doing take two tips.
Welcome.
For some reason, we were recording for a while and then I happened to look and I'm like, oh, it stopped after about 2 minutes in. So for any of you who were on before, I hope you come back.
Mhm.
And today we're talking about the energy of the sun in gate 40 and the earth in gate 37. I just realized I had it written wrong on the actual Zoom link. I got confused for a moment. Okay, so today, we all are experiencing the feeling of the channel of community this is one of those rare transits that's defined by the sun and the earth, defines a whole channel. So that gate 37 and gate 40 will give everyone the feeling of a defined will and a defined solar plexus. So if you're like Jess Tilly, how's that feeling? Because those
Interesting.
centers are undefined. So this switched yesterday at 3:33 p.m. Eastern time, which I feel like was a cool time for a transit switch. But
Yeah.
um,
So cool. I'm definitely feeling the wave. Whenever there's an emotional wave, I can definitely feel that kind of like oscillation between because this wave actually that we have right now is a tribal wave. That's, the individual waves kind of that up down
wait,
up.
I forgot. We forgot to talk about how we're representing the energy. We just got right into this. I'm exhausted and I'm in bed.
I
And
love it.
have followed anything from that I've shared on stories or whatever. It's been a heck of a week for me, so I'll talk more about that later. But
Mhm.
that is the energy of gate 40. The shadow is exhaustion because this is the will center ability to work
Mhm.
and give until you're done.
Mhm.
Because the will center in general only works when it's rested. And gate 40 is the epitome of this because it is that gate that gives for relationships, for love. It's not necessarily the energy that works for money. That's gate 26. And it's not the energy that's starting things. It's just, this is, I loved when Ross said, this is the gate that the person who comes home after working all week for money and they've got the honey-do list that they got to take care of now, right? Or the what do you call it? The volunteer work they're going to go do, or
All
the
told.
things they're going to do for their kids. This
Yeah.
is, anyway, so, and Jess is representing gate 37.
Yes, which I love the way Rod talks about gate 37 because it's like gate 37 comes in with this big smile, but you've got to look out for this smile because there's a bargain. It wants you to do something, right? It's looking for the resourcing, it's looking for that willpower on the other side, coming in with this big splashy like smile of like friendship and family. Welcome. So I brought the whole family. So we've got the teddy bear over here. We've got the little baby monkey. We've got everyone hanging here. We got the little baby. This is an interesting new thing. I don't know if anybody else has kids, but this one it cries. The baby actually cries. You put water in the head and then it can, yeah, it cries. So we've got the baby here. We've got our dragon, the full family, the gate of family. Got everyone over here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this is what we want. This is what gate 40 is saying. I will work so that I may have all these things, right? All the good feelings that come from those relationships. I will work. And in the shadow, I will deplete all my resources and I will become exhausted and I will be spent and I will need restoration. And for me, and a lot of other projectors I know, and probably plenty of other people, sometimes that looks like working from bed. So that's where I am. I am in my bed.
I love working from bed. I
I
love
was going to
breathing
be
from bed.
outside in the sunshine because that's very restorative to me. But I don't know anybody else who's a gardener. Do you know how you do that thing and you go outside and you're still in your pajamas or for me, in my nightgown and my backyard's really private. and I'm walking around with my coffee, and then you see the things that you need to do. And so next thing you know, I'm pulling these vines out of these plants and I'm standing in there doing all this stuff. And all of a sudden I've been out here 5 minutes and I already have 5 giant mosquito bites. I cannot sit out here to do the transit talk. So I came inside and
Yeah.
came back to bed
Mm.
after I cleaned up.
Yes.
So
I feel
anyway,
I feel
okay.
that living
So
in Florida with mosquitoes.
yeah,
So
do you
one thing
want to
I
share the transit?
yes,
Um,
I do. I actually just pulled up though. I have the emotional wave chart, which I think is just
oh
so very
yes, love
important.
that. So
Um,
if you're watching this and you'll be able to see this, and if not, we'll try to describe them for you if you're listening.
So, you know, we've got all different types of emotional waves. So the solar plexus, it's about those emotions, but the different channels have different ways in which that emotion moves. The source waves, that's what we're looking at there. Tribal, which is the current transit
Okay,
that
the
we have.
source wave is 50. Okay, but I just said you got to describe it a little bit in case someone's
Oh,
just listening. So
and I'm
source,
not.
you're not paying attention. Um,
No, no,
this,
I'm not. I'm
so
here
the
welcoming
source
and
wave is
smiling. I'm not listening. I'm here. I'm the
59.4,
mouth. This is the
right?
mouth. It's not the hearing. It's not the ears.
Well, the 40 is the stomach, so we don't have any
Sorry.
ears today.
So there's no listening today.
Right.
So yeah, the source wave, and that is the 59.6. And that's a pretty steady wave that you can experience.
It barely undulates. It's almost like just a little bit of a jagged progression. It's very simple,
So
not
people
very
who have
dramatic.
this, you know, sometimes don't even notice it. So my daughter Lily has this one, and she's like, she doesn't even notice when she's emotional or there's like a switch. And then the next one we have is tribal. So what we have activated right now with the 37 and 40, and as Kathy was saying, I don't remember if you said it now or if this was the first live, but this is a rare transit because it is both of them defined, both of the gates that make the channel.
Right.
And so, because both of those are there, this is actually a pretty common channel just because they both activate at the same time. So we've got the 3740, and the other one we have is the 1949. And so this is a tribal. So if you look here, it kind of goes up a little bit and down a little bit and up a little bit, but overall it's going up. So it's a little thing and a little thing and a little thing, and then suddenly something happens. And Kathy described this so beautifully, like it was, I think it was the sock. There was like a sock left somewhere and it was like that one thing and then everything kind of drops and everything kind of explodes. Then we've also got the individual and the collective. So just kind of noticing, I think for me, you're asking about how do I feel this? Because I have an undefined will and I have an undefined solar plexus. So whenever the solar plexus is activated with an emotional wave, I definitely notice that difference where it's like hope because I feel like I naturally just live in this place of like it's hopeful, it's great. And then but sometimes it's a little bit depressive and that movement between the two. So anybody else who doesn't normally have a defined solar plexus, seeing how that feels, but also within yourself, if this is different type of wave, seeing how that feels in you.
Yeah, like I have a defined solar plexus that's defined through the 3955, which is an individual wave, which is that's all about passion, and there's a lot of melancholy in that. It's a very different kind of feeling.
Mhm.
The tribal wave is really about our tribe, our relationships. So noticing how I feel in that situation. And it was interesting for me to notice how I was more aware of the little things again.
Mm.
And I want to say also that one of the things I may have talked about this before, but gate 40 is a huge theme in my family. So my nuclear family is myself with my fully defined will. I have all the gates of the will defined, and the will itself is defined through the 2644. And my daughter, our daughter, has a defined will with the 2644, and she has the only gate she doesn't have defined is the 51. So she has the 21 and the 40 hanging and the 2644. I have all the other gates hanging and the 2644. My husband, her father, has an undefined will with a hanging gate 21 and a hanging gate 40. And so it's really interesting to see how this is a theme in our family about the 21, which I won't talk a whole lot about now because that's not what we're talking about. But this gate 40 is something that I didn't really like. I really saw the gate 21, the control stuff showed up right away. But now I really have seen, and this came up in a conversation about relationship readings, and Karen Curry Parker, Dr. Parker was talking about this situation for me because I was sharing our dynamics. And she was like, without knowing anything about it, she's like, he probably feels like he does and does and does. And, he's the only defined sacral in the household also, because our daughter's a manifester. He's a manifesting generator. He's the one who works full time, makes all the money. I mean, not that we don't contribute in some way, but he's the major breadwinner, right? So there's this feeling of like I do and I do, and I think I was saying this in the first time. We did this little thing where we thought we were talking for like 15 minutes, but we only recorded for two. So we're starting over completely, but we might repeat ourselves at some points. But um, that feeling in the family of like I do and I do and I do for you people, and this is the thanks that I get, that energy.
Yeah.
Not that he actually says those things, but that's the feeling I think that comes through with that hanging gate 40 on the undefined solar or will center. Because there is that when you have the undefined will center, this inconsistent feeling of self-worth.
Mhm.
So it's just been interesting to contemplate that in relationship. And he and my daughter both have an undefined solar plexus. His is completely open. So it'll be interesting to observe how they are this week
Mhm.
and just to see how this plays out for them because, they don't really talk. I'm not invited to share all this in this way. It's been interesting to see how I can sometimes share some of this without calling it human design, like just the insights I have gotten through human design. But
Mhm.
yeah, this energy is it is the family commun agreements too, just in general. So every family will feel these themes, right? Because even when you don't have it defined in your chart, you're going to experience this energy, right? I mean, we all have all the chart. So anyway, so gate 40,
If we want to, we can go through the
wanna
gene info to share
yeah,
that.
do you have your other cute little graphic that you want to put up?
Yeah, my other little graphic I'm running with. And also, another nuance I think that's also really important when looking at this is a projected channel. So with projected channels, it's really important to have that like recognition and that invitation. And so with the 37, when you're recognized as almost like this glue for bringing people together, bonding the family, bonding communities
Yeah.
with that warmth, with that friendliness that you have, there's a massive amount of a sensitivity to this gate 37. And it's really, really beautiful to hear the way Ra describes the lower trigram. So line 1, line 2, line 3, because that's interpersonal. So it actually isn't aware that there is a 40 on the other side that it's even looking to. And so sometimes when that 37 energy meets a 40, and then part of that 40, there's this denial. No. And they're what? How can people, he talks about how can people be that? We're friendly, we're nice. What do you mean no? And
Yeah.
that energy and how that fourth line, because that fourth line already is about friendliness, it's about building that community. So within the 37, that line 4, how that's extra friendly. And that's, he was talking about how when he started doing readings, these were people that were coming in and they could sell to strangers, be hey, come support my thing, like random strangers they just met, come on in, come on doing this thing, come support my business, come support my church, come support whatever, and create that friendship, create that connection with people. Let's see.
Hmm.
Also 37 is about touch too. 37 people or not, right? It's never definitive that it's like you are specifically this way, but there is this touch. This is that hugginess and the kissing on the cheek. And there's a large piece of touch in there. So we've got gate 40 over here. So 40 is our sun, and we're over here. And gate 37 is our earth. So again, noticing how they're on the opposite sides of that mandala. And in this occurrence, this creates that whole channel, that whole definition. So everyone right now is feeling that definition that we spoke about. So gate 40 is known as deliverance. aloneness, and restoration. And I think last time, I think you did gate 40 as well. I feel like you did like a big hoodie and you were like hiding. Was that this one? I feel like there was,
It probably was, yeah.
yeah, I think,
Aloneness,
yeah.
leave me alone, right? Yeah.
I'm hiding. I remember like this hoodie around your face. If anybody else remembers what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. This might have been right towards the beginning because I know recently you said you looked and we weren't dressing up yet. I'll
Last
take a
one
look.
we hadn't dressed up. So this might have been the first one we actually dressed up for.
Oh no, yeah,
Very
maybe
interesting to
that's
look back and see. Um,
and yeah, we can all the old ones. At first these live live in the Facebook group for a little while, but then Facebook deletes the lives after 30 days. So there is always a replay link that Jess posts in the group somewhere, but you can always find them on Facebook. I mean, on
YouTube.
YouTube if you're looking for an old one, and they'll be in order there. So yeah, and then we have the hexagram, which don't really know how to read those. So what is that? The top one is that water?
Yeah, so I think it's wind and fire. Is it?
Okay, yeah.
Hold on.
Someday I'm going to learn how to actually
I am not a
read
pro with
those. I
the
don't remember. So
hexagrams.
I'm gonna.
It's not. So we've got, yeah, at the bottom, the foundational. This is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got the yin, the yang, the yin, and then the yang, yin, yin. Um, because I think, yeah, 37, and he was talking about, Richard Rudd talks about how it's fire and it's the wind that blows the fire. That's that creation, that connection piece. So in 40, we have in the lower expression, we've got exhaustion, right? And then we've got the key, the gift here is the resolve. And then the city is that divine will. Did you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, and I listened to the audio that Richard Rudd sends out every week when the transit changes. So I listened to 40 this morning again, and it really is talking a lot about not overextending yourself. And the will can just do. We can have this resolve and say, I'm going to do all these things. But when we have so many different things that we want to do, and it's interesting because, I've said many times that my word this year is simplify, but it's been really probably the most challenging word for me because I have all these things that I want to do, and I have the resolve and the will to say I'm going to do it. But then you get exhausted because if you're committed to so many things, you don't have the ability to do them with your whole heart, right? And so one of the things Richard says is just pick something. Like for example, if you're drawn to the gene keys, he says, just study the gene keys. Don't study a million different things. And it's really easy with my completely open ajna and my undefined head to have all these questions and want all the answers and go so deep into, oh, let me understand the I Ching and the Kabbalah. And it's nice to dabble into those. But projectors, we're here to master systems. But we're not here to master all the systems. We're here to master a system of some sort and really speak to that. And it's been tricky because I do love the gene keys, but my thing is human design. I do think that dabbling in the gene keys is very complimentary, but to try not to become a master, um, what is the jack of all trades, master of none? And then there's some other part of that is everybody always forgets, and maybe I'll Google that later because I know that there is something more to that whole quote than people often share. And I just thought of that as I said it. I don't know if it's relevant. So yeah, that's the whole thing. And then when you have the resolve to stay with the things that you're committed to do, but then the divine will part is to realize that you can't just power through and stay committed to the wrong thing. There has to be a certain amount of flow in there. This like idea of allowing life to lead you to a certain degree. So you're not just like fighting against what clearly is going to happen. So understanding that you can have the resolve, but you have to stay open to what life is bringing you and how things are showing up for you and all of that. So,
And I found it. It's thunder, thunder, over water, which
Okay.
makes so much sense, right?
Okay.
In the flow. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so what about gate 37? And I'm have no idea what.
So just another nuance of the 40. So it's the quarter of duality. So we're in the quarter of duality here. And that is the purpose fulfilled through bonding. So gate 37 on this side, we've got family, we've got friendship. In quantum human design, it's peace. And then we've got over here, it's the wind. This one's wind over fire for the hexagram. And so this is the pathway of weakness into equality, into tenderness. And this is in the quarter of initiation. So this is the purpose fulfilled through mind. So the progression here is really beautiful because it's this place where Richard talks about how everybody is equal, but how we're not all born equal, right? Some people are born with some advantages, some disadvantages, but we're all equal in what we're here to fulfill and our pathway to get there. And it's to get to this level of consciousness, right? And so finding the equality in all of this, in all these different places, and then stepping into this place of tenderness, this place of that love.
So I found that full quote. It kind of contradicts Richard a little bit. That full quote is a Shakespeare quote, which I didn't realize that. A jack
Mhm.
of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Mm.
So, but notice it didn't say always. So it's, if you think about it, sometimes it's good to have somebody who knows a little bit about a lot of things,
Yep. It's
right?
good to have both, right? Both ends of that.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that we talked a little bit about in the take one that was not recorded, at least in the live stream, was how I feel like this gate 37, gate 40 energy, this channel of community energy really is very well reflected in the Shel Silverstein book, The Giving Tree. And we were talking about that a little bit. And Jess, you were saying you kind of had the same reaction that I did to the book. Yeah.
Yep, did not like it. Did not like it. Every time it happened, it was like uncomfortable. I was like, I actually had this thought. I was like, do I change the words on this? Do I start to change this story because it's making me so highly uncomfortable?
Yeah, good, right? Yeah, and there are a lot of people. Okay, so the quick recap of the story is it's a children's book, it's a picture book, and it's this beautiful big, some kind of maybe an apple tree, I think. It had some kind of
I
fruit. So
think
it's
it's
a big tree with fruit, and the little boy comes, and the tree loves the little boy coming there. The little boy loves the tree. It eats the apples. It enjoys the shade. It plays there. And they have this relationship. And as the boy grows, he comes to the tree when he has different problems. And the tree always tries to fix the problems by, like, here, take my apples. You can go sell them. Take my brain. I don't know. It's been a long time since I read it. So the general feeling of it, I might be very inaccurate in the what things that it says. Take my branches and go do this. And then pretty much it's like cut off my limbs. And next thing you know, it's like cut off my trunk, go build yourself a house, all this stuff. And because he's now a man, and now he comes, and all that's left is the stump. And the man is sad about his problems in his life. And she's like, come and sit here on my stump, basically, like, be sad, I'll be with you. And so the man is sitting there crying on this stump that is left of this tree that has given its all to him, right? Every ounce of it. And I was like, this just is so horrible. It's this idea of encouraging people to take, this is how I interpret it. I know other people took it different, so I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying this was how I felt. I was like, this is encouraging kids to just take and take and take and see something or someone else as the solution to your problems. And so many people are like, I love that book. It's such a great example of unconditional love and giving, how parents are willing to do everything for their kids. And I was like, yeah, and that's why a lot of kids don't want to have kids because they grow up seeing their parents give up everything and have a life that they have no desire to um, replicate, right? So, anyway, but I feel like this is very much that energy in that channel in the shadow.
Mhm. For me, it made me so uncomfortable. It was a beautiful starting place to have a conversation with my kids and go, huh. look at this. And that phrase, isn't it interesting? The tree kept giving and the boy kept coming back and taking and taking and taking. And there's a place where we solve our own problems. Like, how do we do that? So it spurred a beautiful conversation from the discomfort of the book. The book for me was just, oh, this is uncomfortable, but then a really good conversation happened after it. So I am grateful in that way, but to take the book at face value of learn how to give and love this,
Right.
that I don't love that. I do love it as a, hey, this is how we could look and see how you can destroy somebody, take their all if you just keep taking, right? Really down to the stump. It's so sad.
Right.
Oh goodness.
So, okay. I have no idea what time we started all of this. Have we covered do you think we've said enough about 37 and 40? I don't see any questions or comments. Let's see. Okay, wait, Aaron says, I so want to hear this convo. 3740 is all me. That's Aaron said that. So Aaron, you have the full channel, I'm guessing, right? So I'm wondering if anybody has this as their incarnation cross, because this is cross of the plane, right? Cross
This
of
is
planning,
planning. Yeah,
cross
so
of
this is
planning. I mean,
planning.
yeah,
This is the incarnation we're
part of,
moving out of
yeah,
in
this
the
is,
global cycles. Yeah, this is planning, and then it also goes into the cross of bargains,
yeah, I don't know
the
why I said,
juxtaposition. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so, and I remember I had Alana Haim on the Real Human Design Stories podcast, early on, like in the first dozen or so episodes. And she's a projector that's cross of planning.
Mhm.
And we had a really good conversation about this energy. And it's this really understanding the energy of just because I can,
Mhm.
right? Defined will
Mhm.
doesn't mean I will or should, right? And remember,
Mhm.
anybody who has a defined solar plexus, there is no truth in the now, is what how Ra puts it, right?
Yeah.
There is this need. So in your relationships, if this is defined, or even just the solar plexus is defined at all, it's this energy of like, we need to wait and see if this is the right thing. And so really seeing that play out. Now, 37 is my Chiron, my conscious Chiron. So even
Mm.
though I don't have it actually defined, there are some people who look at Chiron in the chart. Like I know Dr. Eleanor um, looks at Chiron as defining the chart, and a lot of people just look at it in general. And I always like to look at it, even if I don't count its definition. It's definitely a wound I'm here to heal, and that plays out with this. And so seeing how this energy of how I feel in the moment in my relationship can be so um, dangerous to act on.
Mhm.
In that moment, if I am feeling I do for you and I'm not getting what I have in return,
Mhm.
and if my response in the moment is coming from that feeling in there and it hasn't had time to sit and really look at, you know, what are my expectations? What are
Mhm.
their expectations?
Mhm.
Am I being realistic here? Is this a bargain that needs to be renegotiated, right? These are
Mhm.
tribal agreements. This is
Yeah.
where, yeah,
So important too that this bargain needs to be very crystal clear. Like
yeah,
that's one of the key pieces here. And then, it's also called the gate of aloneness. And a part of this is like, yes, it is tribal, but there's also this piece of stepping back out of the tribe and finding your individuation and coming to yourself and feeling that, and then connecting into that bargain that is correct, because then you're happy to fulfill and bring your resources, right? To whatever this bargain is, to put that willpower for providing for your family, for providing for whatever it is.
put
Um,
on your own oxygen mask first.
yes, but it also comes with that piece that honors rest, right? That's honoring that restoration and that rest piece as well. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, that has had, and it's really apparent in my family how much of a difference that makes if people are well rested. But there's so much conditioning around rest, right?
Mhm.
Rest, there's so many rest is for the wicked or something. And like this idea that I'll sleep when I'm dead or there's too much to do, I can't rest. And
Yeah.
that's why we're moving out of that cycle,
Mhm.
that global cycle that is all about these earning your keep, basically, right? You don't want to get thrown out of the tribe by not providing enough.
Yeah.
So,
And also there's this piece of like a misconception almost where it's like, oh, you have sacral activated, you can do it, but it's the ego, it's the will. That's where the willpower comes from, especially like on the material plane. And that's why the 37 is looking to the 40 to hit those, to meet those needs.
right. Okay, so are we ready for the cosmic weather forecast?
Oh, yes.
All right, now it's time for the weekly cosmic weather forecast where we bring you the daily line by line flavor of the current transit. Think of this as your energetic weather report, complete with a high chance of feels and a low pressure system of wisdom just waiting to land. A quick timing note in this cycle, the lines shift in the afternoons here in the US, so in Eastern time. So we moved into line 1 yesterday at 3:33 p.m. and we are still there for a couple more hours today. So each of these shifts the new line won't roll out until later in that day. As we go through the forecast, we'll highlight what's coming in by the afternoon that day. We're talking about Friday morning, which actually started on Thursday. We've got line 1, recuperation meets the mother father. So the shadow weather, martyr moods. I got to move something out of my way here. Sorry. Martyr moves on the radar, collapsing on the couch while insisting they're the only ones keeping this place together. Gift forecast, gentle skies when wisdom sets the pace. Rest shows up as leadership. Steadiness returns when the elders set rhythm. Line conditions feels like heavy morning fog. Slow your roll. Visibility improves with stillness. Line 2, resoluteness. Gate 40, grounded in responsibility for gate 37. Shadow weather. Don't tell me what to do. And also, can you give me a ride? Independent speeches paired with quiet codependency sprinkles. Gift forecast. Bright, breathable air when ownership is shared. Teams click as people handle their part and respect others' freedom. Line conditions, crisp, invigorating breeze, great traction, but chilly when someone skips their shift. And then Saturday afternoon, by the afternoon, we're in line 3, humility, grounded in even-handedness. The shadow weather, spotty showers of pettiness, soapboxes in the square, sulky clouds, when fair doesn't mean my way. Gift forecast, clear weather as humility and fairness guide the group back to center. Line conditions, variable winds, brief squalls, followed by quick clearing. Special weather alert, the moon lights up gate 34 with Neptune in gate 20, giving us the feel of the channel of charisma. Meanwhile, Mercury moves into gate 29, commitment, and Mars into gate 57, intuition. Watch for confident yeses and gut-led pivots threading through the day. All right, from the deeply personal to the dynamically public, Jess, give us the scoop on the upper trigram and how the energy is playing out across the bigger stage.
Sunday, 8:31 by the afternoon, line 4. Organization, gate 40. Grounded in leadership by example, gate 37. Shadow weather. Alliances wobblier than a folding chair in a gust. Titles without integrity may topple. The gift forecast. Sunny and steady when example leads. Pruning false partnerships creates space for healthy growth. Line conditions. Feels like garden cleanup clippings on the path. Clearer beds by evening. Monday, September 1st. Line 5. Rigidity. Gate 40. Grounded in love. Gate 37. The shadow weather. Thunderheads of tough love. Loyalty tests. Cold shoulders and rules stretch taller than needed. Gift forecast. Warm sunshine where devotion is generous and forgiving. Families and circles feel nourished and not policed. Line conditions. Patchy, firm fences in place, welcoming hearths in others. Special weather alert. Venus enters gate 33, stirring reflection on the stories we tell about belonging. The moon connects with Mars in gate 57 for a few hours, bringing the fleeting feeling of the channel of perfected form. Expect a tidy, instinctive, snap into place moment. By Tuesday, September 2nd, line 6, decapitation, gate 40, grounded in purpose, gate 37, the shadow weather, reality TV elimination, vibe sweeping declarations, door slam exits, and dramatic, you're cut off closings. The gift forecast, clear horizons when conviction aligns with shared values, high standards steady at the atmosphere and rally the group. Line conditions, feels like a cleansing front storm clears. Air turns fresh and bright. Special weather alert. Mercury moves into gate 59, inviting intimacy and closeness back into the collective storyline. Expect tender honesty in communication, or not. That's your cosmic weather forecast, folks. There may be chaos in the weather, but you'll find clarity in your chart.
Thanks, Jess. Radical self-trust is still your best umbrella. Follow your strategy and authority and shine your light, my friends.
Love it.
Okay, awesome. That was
Background.
all right.
There was
So,
another nuance that I wanted to chat about. Let me change
sure.
that. And so that was line 5 is love. So that's for gate 37. So this is where I was saying this is the only place in all of the lines and all the gates where it's actual like love. So there's other places where on the G center there's that self-love, but this is that outward love. But on the other side, so it's coming with both, right? Especially if you have an emotional wave. So where 37 is coming in with love, and so somebody can feel that and they're like, oh, I feel this love. I want to be around you. I feel all of these things. But on the other side of that, there's also hate. And you don't get one without the other, right? And so really noticing where in your life, potentially during this transit, you're feeling, oh, yes, I want this thing, but you're not allowing the other side. And it's the totality of that package, right? It all comes together.
Yeah. And I see people that I know who have this channel, and I'm not saying everyone, but I've seen this show up where there is this walling off that happens when the overextension is there. And so the aloneness, the retreat is sometimes done in a way that feels like a retaliation against the other. Really, it's a restorative thing for yourself. And if it can be presented that way, it's going to be better for in the life of the relationship instead of like, I can't handle you anymore. I'm done. I need to get out of here. I'm going. I'm packing my bag and da da da. Or you get the hell out of here. That kind of thing, that comes in relationship when we've had the ratchet thing and you walk in and you find the sock, right? Um, it's usually not that, but a lot of times it is something really small that you feel like you've done and done and given them second chances and you've made allowances and you've said it'll be okay in your mind, but you haven't had the conversations. And there's this energy in here that often can be like, okay, the conversation is about, I need to say my piece. I need to set my boundary. I need to say what it is that I want. But, in this wave, this energy between the two, um, it's the mouth and the stomach is about digestion, right? And the 40 is the digestion. So there's this like, am I going alone to digest and feel what I need to feel to take in? Is this relationship still nourishing in any way? Right. And yeah. And so a lot of times I see people either keep giving and giving and giving and giving till you're just a stump, or you just say, get the hell out of here, and you chase the boy off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the hardest thing is to be able to sit down and have the loving conversation that says, listen, boy, I love you. I'm happy to share some of myself with you. You can
Mhm.
have these apples, but now you must find some other ways to nourish yourself that does not destroy me, right? And having the honest conversation um, in those situations. Somebody,
Mm.
when you're talking to somebody who doesn't have any of this energy and you have it defined, right? When there's a channel that you have, especially an emotional channel, and the other person not only doesn't have that channel, but they're, especially if they don't have a defined um, emotional solar plexus or will in this situation, but just in general, like even me, I don't have this channel defined. I have part of it. I have a little bit of it, a feeling of it, since I have the one gate and I have Chiron in my 37, which, gives me some experience with this. But when you're in that situation in a relationship, and there can be a lot of amplification of your own energy coming back at you by the other person. And so being able to stop, or in this situation where all of us are feeling this, being able to stop and go alone, go be alone, restore ourselves in some way, but not do it in a way that presents it as a punishment to the other, right?
Mhm.
Do it in a way that is respectful, like, listen, I don't have the capacity to deal with what I'm feeling right now. Might be a way you handle it when you're in a really extreme situation. And
Mhm.
I just need to go and figure out what's going on with me,
Mhm.
whatever,
Yeah, I was just looking up yours real quick. So you've got the 40 line 5,
in
and
my
that's rigidity. You're like, I know. I love it because this is like I feel this energy and I love it so much. And in here it's talking about what's negative to the ego is simply anything that calls on it when it does not want to work. Coming back to this piece that the ego is not an awareness, right? It's just a motor.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And um if I'm sitting here just doing whatever I want and relaxing, and you come and you ask me to do something and you don't do it in a way that feels like it recognizes that you're asking me to do something when I'm not restored, like if you say, hey, I know you're chilling, but would you mind? Whatever. But if it's just like, I thought you were gonna, that kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to necessarily be very nice if I'm in a reactive mode.
Mhm.
I'm good because there's this judgment that's felt there. So and there's no energy there to do something when I'm not restored.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so
Yeah.
honoring that, yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and we've talked about Jess and I have been going through the Venus sequence together. And so like seeing that my emotional intelligence, my EQ is in line 4, that's comes in your personality Mars, right? Yeah. And that one is meanness, kindness. So when I'm not restored, you'll get the meanness.
Yeah.
So the
And there's
tone.
nothing wrong with that. It's just that
tone.
marker, like, hey, okay, I need some restoration.
Mhm.
And there's always this piece too where people look for patterns and they're like, but last time you could do it. And it's like, yeah, that's great. Last time I could do it, but like maybe now I can't, and that's okay too. Like
Or
giving yourself
maybe I
that
don't
permission.
want to.
Or maybe you don't, yeah, maybe you don't want
And
to.
that is
Yeah.
part of that whole channel, that
Yeah.
conversation that I remember having so vividly with Alana Heim, where we were talking about just because I can doesn't mean I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
There is a um there is a choice in there, right?
Mhm.
Even though there's a lot of things that, like we talked about, how the city expression is divine will. Well, the divine will might be that you not do something.
Mhm.
And you can feel that in your body and you have the choice to say no. So, yeah. So, and I know Lisa said she's on a train, so she's not able to join us. She said she feels her gate 40 so deeply. I sit on the edge of the rest of humanity and come in town when needed. It's
What
her
was she,
unconscious.
5?
She's got 40,
40 line what? Do you
line
know?
4 and on unconscious Uranus, and line 1 unconscious Uranus. And
Mhm.
then I don't know where Aaron had his 3740. He never mentioned that. But Yeah. So what's line one is
Line one is recuperation for 40, for gate 40.
yeah. Oh, and line four is actually organization, and it is exalted in with Uranus. So it's the power to transform and the intuitive intellect to select and organize for the purpose of maintaining deliverance, the power of the ego when organized and active to maintain separateness. So it's interesting that this is such a tribal gate, but it's so individual almost, right? Like there's so much about preserving the individual in the tribe that it feels like it has this hybrid individual energy to it, right?
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah, definitely does.
As we move into this age of the sleeping phoenix that is coming in 2027, that's so much the message of that is that we have to fully differentiate ourselves as individuals
Mhm.
to have a more cohesive, intimate experience in the tribe, because the way we really can feel the true highest expression of love is when we feel loved for who we really are. And so the only tribal gate that will be in play at that time is gate 59, which we just came out of, which is intimacy, which, breaking down barriers to intimacy is what we've been doing this whole past week, hopefully, and we're continuing to do. And I think it's Mercury is moving back into gate 59 in during this week at some point. So we'll have more expression about talking about intimacy and all of that again from this place of this defined channel here of the 37 and the 40. So anything else you want to add? Any response you're feeling?
No, I actually have to run.
Okay.
It's perfect
All
time.
right, everybody. So it was great. Thanks for coming back around the second time and if you were here the first time, but and peace out, everybody.
Bye. Bye.